do, let me first walk through the setup, just in case you if you have trouble. So what I do is here. So I have Docker running here. So we'll focus on backend. So I'm on the backend folder. So in the backend folder, maybe let me open GitHub. So I'm on the backend folder, and in the backend we actually have a Docker file Yama here. It actually have one for Windows. Okay, so I'm not running on Windows. I'm running on Mac. So I think Levi, the one you've been talking to, he know most about the Windows setup. Okay, but
Okay.
after that, I think that the thing is the same. So here we have two containers for backend, right? We need the Redis for the cache, and we need a database, right? So here. So let's first get it working. So I run this script. So we have a script in the root. What I do is actually right now I'm going to run the script start shell. It's just basically Docker compose up to run the I mean by default it's running the current Docker compose file. I mean because I'm in the directory of backend,
Yeah.
so it will use the YAML file. I mean, you can directly use I guess by default I'm using this. If you want to use this, I guess Docker compose -f. It's kind of similar to this command. Like oh, actually we have. Do we have a command for bat? I think it's this. I think that by default it's the current file for Windows. Yeah, I think this guy is created. So I'm not too familiar because I'm not running Windows. Anyway, after that, you have two containers running. So you have Docker PS. If you run Docker PS, you see two. One is Postgres, one is Redis. So that means you are almost ready, right? Next thing I'm gonna run my Spring Boot. So this is if I use IntelliJ to open the backend. If you use IntelliJ, you don't want to open the whole project. You want to open the backend folder. More specifically, you can open this file and you open as project because we're doing the Gradle. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So after that, actually, you should be able to detect this bullet journal application. If it not cannot detect, you can go to Java, go to this file. So this file is bullet journal application under Java, like the package's root. So if you run this here or debug here, it's the same as you do it here. So
Okay.
okay, so let me just run it. One more thing, you might want also, uh, I have what I have is the IntelliJ Ultimate. I don't know if you can get it for free, but for students, I think you can get it for free. So it comes with the database plugin, so I can fill the database. There are other things you can install. We are using PostgreSQL, right? So uh, you can use like pgadmin. I mean, any other kind of database connection SQL client.
Okay.
So my setup is here. Basically, the username and password is very easy to find. It's in under the resource application where we specify the database. You see database username and the password, right?
Okay.
So that's how you can connect to the database. So I can see what the data is in the database. Okay. After I start this, okay, it's almost there. By the way, I think the thing is we are using FlyAwayDB. How are you familiar with FlyAwayDB we are using?
No.
Right. Uh, so if you go to deployment folder, uh, you if you go down a little bit, so it's if you can see, so this is deployment folder, okay?
Okay.
You can see the FlyAwayDB. There's a doc. So the FlyAwayDB is that for production use, right? Every time you start your Spring Boot, you don't want to wipe out all the database, right? The database data, right? You kind of want to keep the original data, right? Uh-huh.
Right.
And when you do migration, with we write those SQL script. So let's say here, for example, I add a column for this table. Yeah. FlyODB is for DB migration, so it's a good framework. I suggest you take a look. It's a public open source library, so we use it, and you will be using it as well. It's good to know it. Yeah. It has some doc link here. I mean, if you just Google search it, you should be able to find a lot of document. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain that here, but if you Google it, you should be able to see a lot of example, and it's pretty popular software framework. Okay.
Yeah.
So by far, I think I explained what I want to explain about the technical setup, right? Next is I'm gonna talk about like what we want to build next. Before that, do you still have a question about the technical part, like Docker, like Spring Boot?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, I guess the only thing you want to pick up is this FlyODB thing we are using. Okay. So next we're gonna talk what we're gonna build here. So here, oh, we still have some bug. Let me refresh the website. So we have this bullet journal website. So that's what we are building. Okay. So in the backend, I create a task for you two. So there's two assigning here, Owen and Bai. This task is about let's mark it as in progress. Okay. So what this task is about is so we first want to define the requirement. That's the first thing for you. What I mean is right now we have a lot of we already have the code we have a lot of tasks, right? And we can let's see, we have a lot of Bojo. Bojo is kind of like a project, right? And then you click complete task. You actually see those tasks you completed, right? Either by you or by others, right?
Right.
If we compare with todoist.com, so this is another website similar. Okay, if you've not heard of it, it's fine. You don't have to know it.
Okay.
But it does show this kind of statistic. Okay, I haven't used it for a while, so let me just use it to see what happened. Okay, does it? Yeah, it shows on Sunday I completed 2 tasks, right?
Huh.
And previously I didn't do anything. So what we want is we want to show some kind of statistic, like let people know how you're doing. Let's for example, okay. Let's say if I'm using this bullet journal as like let's say I have a fitness program, right? I can create like a recurring event. We can create a recurring event. Let's say like every week. Let's say on Wednesday, Thursday. Let's say on at 8 p.m. Right? I want to do some like a jogging or something, right? Something like that, right? And I create that. And actually here we can after you do that, after you create it, let me just for example, let's make it real. Okay, later I can delete it. Okay, if I create a jogging, I created it here, but I assign to myself, right? So once you do this, it will create those jogging. You see here, jogging on my calendar, right? Jogging, 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 right?
Right.
So and also if I check on week, is it actually 8? Is it this one? Jogging, right? So this is another one. Oh, I created 2 event, right? Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday. Okay. Also, you can complete it. If you check agent on the week, you can like complete it. If you do it here, you are only complete this one. I mean,
Yeah.
the code we can explain later. So this one still stays, right? And in the Bojo, you are not complete all of them. If you complete this one here,
Yeah.
it actually wipe out everything, right? So it actually wipe out everything. Okay. So I'm just trying to see the subtleness that you might have a recurring one, right? you might have like a one-time one. For the meeting event, it's recurring, right? So it's kind of different. When you complete a recurring task, you are not completing the one in the Bojo. I mean, if you complete the task in the Bojo, we call it the Bojo. It's actually more like a project, right? In the code, it's actually like a project, right? It's in one Bojo you can have multiple. It's one too many. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So back to what we want to do, right? First, we want to define like what kind of statistics we want to show the user. So we will add those backend APIs. So
Yeah.
we define what we want to show to the end user. Then we add those backend APIs. Then we go to the front end. A front end is not. I understand you are doing the backend work, right? So you don't have to worry about the front end. But the first thing we want to see is what we want to show to the user, like in the UI. I'm not saying you need to do the front end development, but we will do the backend development for those API, right? Because the front end call the backend for getting those data, right? So we want to also different than the to-do IST. We actually support the three kinds, right? We support a note. Note is kind of like a to-do without a date, without a due date, without those complication, right? So if you go to a note, if you go to a notebook, right? I have some notebook, right? I have my password. So they don't have a date, right? You can actually view some like a few of them, like it's sorted by creation time, right? So note is much clearer. Like we also have ledger. Ledger is like if for example, like if you let's say if I create a Bojo and the group is you and me, let's say if we go out on a trip, right? Sometimes you pay something, right? Sometimes I pay. If you pay for the drink, I pay for the food, right? Or I pay for the gas. Then I can like create like a transaction one by one here, and in the end I'll get a summary like how much time. Actually I have some example. Let me go back to. Let me give a better range. Yeah. So if I create someone here, right? So I'll see like how the balance, like how much like the balance, like how much is paid, right? So I can get an idea who paid how much money, right? You can sort by pair. By pair right now it's 100%. Yeah, you can sort by the label. You can actually add a label to some of the transaction. Anyway, the reason I go through all this detail is that when we show the statistics, maybe we don't have to limit it to the task. Yeah, maybe let's say how much transaction. But we do have like the list of how many times for the transaction, like expense 3 times, right? Income 0 times. So we don't also don't want to duplicate those statistics. So we want to show some kind of statistics, like icon. Maybe not here, but similar to this. Want this to be meaningful, right? I mean, the dumbest case is we show how many tasks is completed each day. In the future, I just want to mention, okay, so first keep in mind we have 3 types. Do we want to show some statistics for note, or like how many note you create? Is this even useful for note? What about the ledger, right? Maybe we only care about the task, right? That's maybe true, right? Also, in some enterprise software, we call it like a velocity. By velocity, like how many tasks you completed versus the total task, or right. I mean, the easiest thing we can show is how many tasks we completed for like each day, but maybe we want to show something more, right? Yes, that's something I want you to define, like what is more meaningful to show. Also, let's see. There's another software called task8.com. I'm not sure you're familiar with it, but it's pretty good software, right? It's kind of doing similar thing we are doing. And let me log out so it show me something. Actually, I want to show you template. That's something we're gonna build in the future. So it has something called a template. We are going to build something similar, but I want to understand that the bullet journal can be used for like a lot of area, right? Like trip planning, right? So it will generate a template. Let's say in Australia, you want to do, let's see, this is something they built, right? We will build this in the future. So let's say it creates those, maybe it's not too many, but it actually tell you like a to do, like what to do, what to do. Oh, actually, just show you a picture. Actually, if you do use template, I think it's use template. Yeah, it will generate those to-do tasks like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they made it very pretty. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it will generate those. I'm showing this just give you the idea like it can be used for a lot of place. Like here, what we're gonna present is like also in the future we're gonna build a template like maybe for lead code. Like let's say if you practice in coding, right? Like studying, like you will show how many like algorithm problem you solved in the past 7 days, something like that, right? If you show how many lead code actually does this kind of for you. So we want to do more than that, right? I mean, uh, by do you know like where it shows the statistics, like how much you complete by?
In
Uh,
your profile. Yeah, yeah. Just link your profile. Yeah, then this
yeah,
part.
our profile. Oh, this is not my account. Okay. By the way, that's not how many code I solve. Okay. Don't it? So it show you like how many, right? Also show you like a rating. This is for context. I think that's the statistics. Maybe. I think this graph is useful. Maybe you want to show this kind of like even GitHub has this, right? I think. Oh, actually, I think GitHub has like something called a punch card, if I remember. Punch card. Yeah, I kind of duplicate the punch card we're gonna build, right? Actually, it's why it's called Chrome? Why is there the extension? Yeah, maybe you want to. You see, we kind of want to see. This is better than the one I just showed you, right? Punch card. But if we're gonna build a punch card, let's say if we want to build a punch card for the backend, for the front end, maybe you want to take a look like front end. I'm not saying you want to develop it, but let's say if we say React punch card, you want to understand what kind of API it will call. I'm not saying like you will do the development work for the punch card, but if we're gonna use we use React for the front end, right? But
Right.
if we do that the front end example, we want to the back end to provide the data, right?
Right.
It's not very helpful. And also, you know that we have different users, right? Maybe we want to show the statistics not for the project only, on a project basis, not on the total. Can we actually better, right? So maybe we want to show multiple projects. What I mean is, show history. So here, when you show history, right, you can select arbitrary task, and you can show the history, like what people did, right? You can show the picture, history. What I mean is maybe you can multi-select. We do support multi-select, right? If you do here, you see, you can
Yeah.
select multiple people, right? You can select multiple people. Uh, if you select multiple people, then let me do it again. Uh, so you can select multiple. You can add people or remove people. What I mean is, here's my imagination, right? Maybe we don't want to show a global like this here, right? Because we have multiple projects, right? Maybe user can select actually let me draw something. Maybe I want to maybe I want to have like a page, right? Maybe I can select let me draw. if I have let's say I have a drop down, we can select like a project A, B, C, right?
Right.
If you select the project A and C, it show the punch card of this, and if you unselect A, it show I mean the data changed, right? So I mean your API probably will take a project, take a multiple project, a list of projects, then grab the data, right?
Okay.
But what kind of data for this? Is we still need to. I'm inclined to thinking in the punch card because you can see frequency. This is actually detailed, right? Like, actually, have you used the GitHub's punch card? I've seen it before. Is it Insight? Traffic. Yeah, actually, GitHub has a lot of good things. You see, this is traffic. Visit, we don't care. Commit. This is the number of, yeah, you see we have bar chart, right? I mean, I'm not saying you do the front end work, but when you code in the for the backend, you need to think about what kind of front, because we want to display it in the front end, right? Eventually, right?
Right.
So we might want to take a look like what front end data they need, right? Because in the end we're gonna show it to the front end. But let's go back to the GitHub actually. Actually, code frequency. You see here. So these are supported by the backend API call, right? So this is
Right.
actually pretty good. How much we did? This is actually show how much deleted, all right? And we don't care about this one. Maybe not this one. So after we look at this, I think frequency is like for a single day, right? If you group by day, like here, we already have code to group by day. I think like we here. And also, are we only checking how much task is completed? Do we need to check like how many story or how many tasks we created? Or for example, right? Maybe we want to show like for this week, because if you have a due day, let's say like how many tasks are due this week, right?
Right.
Uh, maybe that's another statistic point, right? Maybe you want to see like, okay, this week, how this week, how many tasks I have, right? Let's say, right, on the page, right? Also, I do want to filter by the Bojo, because like a tax day, this is like a holiday, right? Well, I don't want to show the statistic here, right? That's why I think it's important that we can filter by the Bojo, right? So one a big requirement I think is we want to pass in the projects. There are some projects I don't care, and we want to be able to select support multiple projects, right? Not just one. Maybe I want to show the statistic for all these three, right? We have full stack, front end, back end, mobile, right? Maybe I want to see across project statistic, right? Uh, for Note and the Ledger, I'm not sure. Maybe we don't support. Yes, that's something to think about. Also label is something interesting. Maybe I'm not sure we want to. Maybe we do not start with that. But the first thing we want to start is we want to use some kind of React punch card library. I think we are not gonna build something fancy ourselves. What I'm saying is we probably will call, oh, this only have one star. Maybe not this one. Maybe we just want to build a graph ourselves. It's fine. We have some React library already. It's actually just graph, right?
Right.
So now I think about it, maybe we don't want to use some like a so-called punch card library, because none of them it's good, I think. Right? For the graph, actually, I think we already can draw this kind of graph. I mean, if you look at the ledger here, let me change the date. We can have, so we already have some kind of graph. We can show like let's see here, right? If you have some kind of graph, we already have like a bar chart and a line chart, so we can definitely build something here. Uh, but that being said, we can define like what kind of we want to show, right? It's probably by day or by week. We don't want to. It's not gonna be by minute or hour, right? That's not something we care. Maybe like for today, how many, right? This is a graph, right? So like statistics, like graph. Um, how much you completed, and then let's say how many is due in 1 week or 1 month. Yeah, I mean, you want to think about this. What is pulse? Pulse, like this is by people, right? See here, this is by user, right? This is also very useful, right? By user, like
Yeah.
many, like you probably want to select time range, right? It's a period, 3 days. Like we probably gonna be arbitrary day, like here, right? Also, we are talking about a completed task right now. Completed task. Um, Let me see. If we are talking about a completed task, what do we do? Is that all, or are we gonna just only handle the completed task, or do we want to do something more than the completed task? Like I mentioned, right? We can check like how many available tasks due next week as well, right? So we can show this kind of statistic. So that's something for you to think about in the start. So once we define what we want to build, so after you think about it, right? Let's get together and have another meeting. Maybe you can tell me like what we want to show, right? I mean, I actually I said I already kind of showed you like some possible solution, right? I'm
Right.
just trying to see if you have something else, some by if you have some other idea, you can also like I mean after today, if you have some idea, post the in the chat group chat. We have a backend group chat, right? I just posted here. We have five guys here, right? So post it here. I know we have a small group today, but if you have a technical question or if you have like a question about this statistic or just call it let's just call it statistic. Okay, then you can post it here so we can chat. So yeah, so for you, I think the first thing, FlyAwayDB, just have a look at what it is, right? Because you will be using it soon, and try to connect to your database. Okay, connect to your database with the username Postgres. The username is Postgres, password is Docker, right? So you should be able to connect to it. Default port is 5432, right? So you want to connect to the database, and then we have 24 tables right now. Okay, we
Okay.
probably will add. We probably will just write a query. I'm not sure we'll add a database table. I mean, we may, right? I mean, when you work around this further, we definitely will create new tables in the future, right? We right now we have 24 DB tables. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So the biggest challenge or question is that what do we want to show, right? I mean, if you cannot think about more, we can eventually we may end up with what I just said, right? Maybe but I wanted to check more to see what you can think, right? What is meaningful for the user, right? Let's say if I'm doing the jogging for the or fit plan or do like a diet meal, right? I want to see how I'm doing, right? I mean, am I on track, right? Or how much I missed today, right? But because sometimes it's mixed, right? I mean, uh, sometimes it could be dental appointment, right? Maybe sometimes it's not the fitness meal or diet meal. Something I don't want to include it in it, right? It messed up my statistics, right? I guess you can do this by select the module, right? I mean, because like here, I don't want to include the holidays, right? Because I never complete them, right? If you include the holidays, that's off for the statistic, right? Because these are not minimal. I'm not gonna complete a holiday, right? It's just showing on my calendar. I guess we solved it by their project. because I can move it. We can move it to a different project if I don't care it, I can move it to another project, right? If I don't want to delete it. Also, yes, by user is good, right? If I can show like for a time range, like let's say for a time range, like which user. Actually, right now, if you click on a single user, it show what it's assigned to the user. So if we see the complete table, if you click, we have a table called complete task. So maybe we need to add a new column like by who completed it. Right now, we have who owned it. We didn't save who completed it. Because right now we don't know who completed it, right? Oh, actually, if you see completed, I think we should be the who completed should be the assignee. It could be multiple people. Yeah, it should be the assignee, I think, for who completes it. Yeah, not a. I mean, I think if let's say I have a task for you guys and I click complete, that doesn't mean that I completed it, right? It means you guys completed it. So it should be the assignee, not me, right? So we already have this in the database. Yeah, maybe you want to show like by which people in a time range. What I mean is in a time range. Here in a time range, each member like how many kind of like this pulse here like you see how many people complete how many, right? So maybe you want to show this kind of bar chart, right? To see like how many people completed. Yeah, in the given time range. Also, we maybe want to show the frequency, like this kind of bar chart, like how many, right? That's two things I can think of. Also, the third thing is maybe we can show how much task is due in the future, right? If people select the time range for the future, maybe we can show like okay how we can actually. So imagine you have a graph, right? You imagine you have a graph like this, right?
Yeah.
This is the time, right? So you know the current time. Let's say the current time is here. So we can actually show kind of like okay, how many is this completed, how many is this completed, how many is this completed, how many is this completed for each day or this week or each week. So you do need to support. We do want to support by week as well, right? Here because we can show. Here we can actually show like by week, right? Like week, right? Anyway, we can talk about that later. Maybe how many for today. Now, when the time extend to the future, maybe how many tasks is due this day? So this is due, but the bar chart will be a different color, right? So it will be a different color for. Actually, it will be a line chart, right? But maybe the dot can be a different color, right? Something like this, right? Yeah, that's something we want to build, right? Right? We can show this kind of the chart, right? And for each dot point here, is this by every user in the Bojo or I mean, is it on a Bojo level or a person level? I kind of want to support for a Bojo level or on a person level. Like I want to see for a single person, right? Like say, oh, I want to see Bai how Bai is doing, right? But how many tasks Bai completed this week, or how many tasks Bai have in the future, right? For a single, I mean, for person doesn't have to be multiple. I think for person, I mean, I think it's like a single selection. This is like you can only select one person at a time, right? We don't want to. Well, if we want to do the multiple, I mean, you don't want to mix. We don't want to support a mix, right? I'm not going to add two person the statistic. I mean, for a project, maybe we want to add two projects, right? What I mean for project, maybe I want to see the total of the 4 projects, right? I want to see the total, right? So that's why we have a list of projects because we want to add them up, right? But for the person, I don't want to add a 2-person statistic together, right? I don't want to see 2 of you, how many tasks you completed, right? I only see I think I only need one person, right? If I want to see another person, I switch it, right? I don't want to. It's not like a project. I want to add two together. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
We need to add, right? Bai, did you agree? We don't want to, for the person we want to be the API should be single, right? Take a single person, single user. For the project, we want to take a list, right? Because for the list, we actually want to add them up, right? For completion.
Yeah.
Bai, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay, so that's all I can think of for now. I throw some idea. It could be eventually we may end up like this, but maybe you have some other idea, right? So right now, what I think is you can like show project, show person, and also we can show the future how many is due, right? Like here. So given the time, right? And we can group by day, or by week, or even by month. I think we support the months for calendar. We support months and a year. We don't care about. Do we care about year? We don't care about the year. I think. Right. Actually, if you can look at the ledger, there's API for the ledger. Also, it supports week, monthly, weekly. I'm not sure we want to do yearly for the statistic. Yearly is too much. I think weekly, monthly is something. If we're talking about grouping, right? Because we're talking about this data point, right? This could be how many for a day, right? For a day, it could also be for a week, or for a month, right? So user can choose like the grouping they want to have, right? What does GitHub have actually? Is this by day? Looks like GitHub is by day. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I want to be able to hover. Yeah, it doesn't show me, or it show something. What about commit? Yeah, this kind of bar chart. You see here, the week of this is by week actually. It doesn't let the user select. It doesn't let the user select choose day or week. I think we want the user to be able to select the month, day, or week, right? That's better. And what about here? This is so I think the backend will give the. So here, how we already have this kind of code. Once you settle the requirement, we actually the backend will provide the week. Not we already have this kind of code. So the backend will determine the week. Let's say here, if I choose month, it will show May, right? You see here it's May. And for week, it's actually week 0. We already have this kind of code. We are already grouping by week. You see here, week 1, week 0. So you see this line chart? It's kind of similar. I'm saying the backend should calculate the week number, and the front end is purely just displaying it. So the front end doesn't calculate the statistics for the. You can play with the ledger. I think because ledger already have some kind of statistic. Okay. It already, because for the ledger book, we are already calculating the statistic like by week, by month, or even by year. By year, we only have 1 year, right? So it only have so 2020, because we only have 1 year. For months, because my example is not good enough, right? Right now I only have 1 month. If I create a new one, if I create a new transaction, let's say something test, I give a number, so I mark it for today. Okay, so I have a July, right? Give a label, okay, just for testing. Okay. Okay, you see here, I'm just saying like we already have some backend already baked. So you have May and July. You see, you have 2 months, right? May for 3 times. Why it's not July for once, right? You look at the week. Week we have more, right? May week 0, we have 3 week entry, right? May week 1, and then we have July. July week 3, right? July week 3. Okay. So it have different kind of statistics here. Also, if you stick by label, we have 2 label. Okay, 2 label. Because I think the number is too small. Oh, $11 is too small. Let me give it a bigger. 11,000. This is better. Did it refresh? Maybe I want to refresh it. Let me refresh. Okay. Once we refresh it, we want to here. Oh, we do need to fix this. Why it's okay? This is probably float number. We should not. Yeah, we should not send. This is a bug actually. I need to fix it. Okay. So you see here, so the income and expense, right? And if you do it by the label, we have two label. Why is the pair? I'm not getting it. Oh, because we have expense. Okay. Because we are not in the same type. Let me make it the same type. Make it the expense. I don't want. Yeah, now now I have a percentage, right? Income, we don't have anything for income. Actually, and then for the label, yeah, you see, the label we have this kind of thing, right? Anyway, I'm just saying like we have some sort of statistics, statistics. So I mean, the backend should take care of grouping by week or by day, not for the front end. So you basically tell the front end the data point, the front end will render the data point. So you tell the front end like, okay, this is by month, right? If you by week, you give front end 3 data point, right? You see there's 3 data point, right? So that's what the back end provide. Front end is actually not aware what does this meaning. Right? Front end doesn't have to know like, okay, this means week 1, right? It just render the data the backend provide. Got it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So all the calculation happen in the backend. We already have the similar code, so I can show you later. But let's first determine what we want to show. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll think next once you have some idea what we want to do. You might want to like write down what we because sometimes like I write down some logic like what we want to do. Sometimes I do it here. Just write down what we want to more detailed view like what we want to show, right? What I just showed you is the more like idea, right? You want to write down like what? Let's say actually I wrote down something, right? Maybe we want to say we want to use to be able to do like a by week, by month, not by day, right? By day, by month, not a year. I don't think we want a year. I mean, year is not very useful. Do I want to see the because you want to this is by grouping, right? This means this is for grouping. This means for each data point. This means for each data point, like let's say 5 tasks, one month July, right? Or 3 tasks, week 2, right? That's what we mean. Or 1 task today, right? So something like that, right? So it's for the grouping. It's not for the whole range, right? It's for the grouping, right? So it's not you want to show how many tasks you completed this year, right? That's weird, right? Yeah. Okay. That's all. We'll see. We'll think next time. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that's it for today. Okay. Bye.
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 Okay, see you. Bye.